Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the digital marketing news that matters this week, the Digital Coffee. I almost forgot the name of it. This is a show that I deliver each week, sharing social media and digital marketing news from the week. And I have a good amount of news to share this week, as you can see. Now, the idea is this is your coffee break, so you haven't got a cuppa. I feel for you. I have two cuppas this week. I have a cup of coffee and I have a cup of tea. In fact, both cups are very, very empty. Thanks for joining. I can see some of you are there. Do tell me what you're drinking. Here's my selection of mugs this morning. I've had 2 cups of tea. Good morning, Sinead. Hi, Kate. I can see you're there. You've got tea. And this is one of my favourite mugs. This was from the days that we ran the blog awards. And this was a freebie that you got in the goodie bag. And that was my coffee mug this morning. Sadly, both are very, very empty. Una Min, you're drinking soup. What flavour soup? Were you up all night? Now, before I start, do me a favour. If you know somebody who might enjoy this Facebook Live, please click the share button. You can share it on your profile, into a group where you know people like it, or if you're in a social media business too, you might even share it on your Facebook page. Oh, look. Sorry, I just jiggled the camera. Before I start onto the main news, everything that's on my board, I just want to talk about one development in Facebook Live. You can see I'm not wearing a mask today, although I was kind of tempted. But there has been something else that is kind of cool. If you are going live from your profile or from a business page that you haven't got attached to Business Manager, you can now flip the screen so everything appears the right way round. I was excited when I heard about this, and I got this tip from Krishna Day. You should have a look at her stuff online if you don't already, krishnaday.me, I think it is. And she is a live video superstar, basically. She told me about this. I was able to do it from my test page, which I manage from my personal account, but I also have a Business Manager, which the spider working page is attached to, and that meant I couldn't do it. If you try, there's a little button at the top that's like a magic wand. When you click that, you'll see that on the personal profile on iOS, there is now like a toolkit, and you can click on that to flip it, which will be great because one day this will be the right way round. It's really weird because I've got so used to it now that it looks the right way round to me. Okay, so on to the news. What have we got? We've got 2 bits of Snapchat news. Something odd is happening to one of my Twitter birds. I'm not going to say. Krishna.me, thank you. And of course I should have said how to spell Krishna Day, that would have helped. We've got quite a bit of Facebook news as usual. We've got a bit of Instagram news that is something that might happen to Instagram. I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of it. And of course the big thing that actually made the news this morning is, that isn't on here, is Snapchat has launched its IPO, which means it's going to be public, sell shares, which means it's going to be answerable to shareholders in the future. It'll be interesting to see how that one goes. Will people think they got their fingers burnt when they invested in the likes of Twitter, or will this be the next Facebook? To be honest, I don't care about shares and investing, but it's an interesting way to see a company going because the focus of the company has to move slightly when that happens. Start then, will I, with Facebook. Now do hang on today because there's been a big Facebook algorithm change that you need to know about. But first up, let's have a look at what I've got in the news. Now this one is kind of interesting. It's another swipe at Snapchat from Facebook. If you watched last week, you'll remember I was wearing a panda face that Facebook put on my face. It's a little lens you can put on. It's kind of cool. Total Snapchat ripoff. There are noticeably more ads on Snapchat in the last week. Ooh, that's interesting to know. I hear that they rolled out their advertising to everyone. I don't know if that includes Ireland yet. If anyone's using Snapchat ads, you can let me know. That could be part of the reason. Okay, so these are augmented lenses for Facebook. We already have them. We had the Panda. It was a spaceman. There's loads of them there. You can play with them here or on, if you have it, if you're in Ireland, the Facebook Stories feature. And they're pretty cool. But they're about to launch branded lenses. Now, Snapchat users will be familiar with this. when there's a film out, very often the film company will buy a branded lens. So you can be Batman or you can be somebody else. And they're kind of cool. They're kind of cool. And of course, Facebook, in its bid to do everything Snapchat does and not let it win, are going to adopt these as well. It's not going to be something us small businesses use. I can't see a small business and an event or something coming up being able to afford to even create the lens in the first place, let alone buy it on Facebook. But it is interesting that they're diversifying their advertising offering. And you'll know this is something we've talked about a lot before. The more space there is to advertise, the better. And this came up this morning. Actually, twice in the last week, people have sent screen grabs because they've seen one of my articles appear on newspaper sites. So I'm both in The Guardian and in The Telegraph, but no, I didn't write articles for them. It's just part of the Facebook ad network, because now it's still targeting the same people, but because it knows your web habits, it will produce those ads on other sites like The Guardian and The Telegraph. And I'm kind of glad about this, not because it's great that people think I'm good and authentic now, but more because, again, it's more space. The more space it is, the longer ads will stay kind of affordable for us, a small business. I think those lenses will be cool. I'll enjoy playing with them, but I doubt any of us will be able to afford them. The second one is kind of, and I know this one's close to Ming's heart because I saw you tweeting about it earlier this week, is that Twitter are making another crackdown on abuse, which is interesting. My light's going to flash because it's running out of battery. Doesn't that always happen at the, I've just turned it down one, hopefully it will sustain. I think Twitter is, it has a big problem. It has a big problem with abuse. Now, I think I've pretty much lucked out with this. There has been a few times where people have been unkind to me on Twitter for no apparent reason, but it hasn't been a lot. Now, I'm lucky. I'm a woman, but I'm a white woman. I'm a white English woman. So the abuse is going to be less. I know people of other races. I know people who are not white. I know that people who have disabilities, people who have strong political opinions are often called out, and it's not nice. There's been a really horrible example of this happening recently, and it wasn't even on Twitter, it was on Instagram, and I'm not going to go into the details, but it was related to an awards ceremony. Now, firstly, people aren't going to stop. Hi, Emma, thanks for joining. People are not going to stop being abusive. So the networks really need to take a stand and see how they can curb this, how they can deal with this. So I'm going to show you a string of tweets that came from a Twitter official this week. Ed Ho is his name, and here they are. So he's basically saying that within hours and days, now I have to read it backwards, which is uncomfortable. Within hours and days, they're going to start bringing in new stuff to combat abuse on Twitter. I haven't seen it yet, and this was a couple of days ago. They say some of it will be visible and others not so. I'm going to be interesting to see how this progresses, because if they manage to deal well with abuse, I think it could be the saving of the network. I think it's one of the reasons lots of people read and don't post, because they're scared of being jumped on. Again, somebody else was telling me a story during the election where they said something that was slightly anti one of the candidates, the male one, and they were jumped on immediately with hundreds of tweets from people who supported that candidate. We can't be doing that. But if we can't stop the humans doing it, we do need the networks to step in. Let's see how that progresses. It could be something really positive. Next up, please look what I did to poor Twitter. There's my Twitter bird again. Twitter, I love you. I do not want Facebook to smack you. This is an interesting one because I didn't realise, because I use Twitter Media Studio, so I upload my videos there. Anyone can, once you've got an advertising account, it's studio.twitter.com, and it's just an easier space for you to manage videos rather than sitting there trying to add them to a tweet. Within there, when I go in there and look at the videos I've uploaded, I can see how many people have viewed them. And of course, it hadn't occurred to me that this wasn't public information. They're going to change it. They're going to add, well, it looks like they're going to add view counts to your Twitter videos. Now, they haven't rolled this out to everyone. They're just testing it. A few people are seeing view counts on videos on Twitter. Why is this important? Well, views are social proof. When you see a video on Facebook and it's had 1.5 million views, you think, actually, it might be worth my time having a look at it as well. Don't you? So, when Twitter does this, it could be, oh, there's the postman. We wake the postman. When Twitter does this, it will also hopefully push video further out in our streams. It's going to be an interesting one to watch. Right, so I have the Facebook algorithm change, or something really cool Snapchat is doing. Which would you like to see first? S for Snapchat, F for Facebook. So there's 4 of you watching at the moment, so let's hope it goes one way or the other. S for Snapchat or F for Facebook. And it's the Facebook algorithm news I'm going to share. The postman did drop something in the door. We've got a Facebook. 1 for Facebook. Loads of thumbs up. I'm actually hiding you behind my lights so I can't see who it is. 2 for Facebook. Thanks for all the thumbs ups. Here's a thumbs up for you. Here's a big thumbs up for you. Did I ever tell you how much I love you? Okay, let's go. That's 3 out of the 4 of you voting for Facebook. So Facebook it is. You may remember there was a Facebook algorithm change last week, and there's another one this week. Last week's was related to video. This is a more general one. And I have to give a shout out to Karen Coakley. I don't know if she's watching now or if she'll watch later, but she actually sent me a direct message because although I was aware of this change because I'd picked it up, I don't think you'd like to see the postman Ema. I don't think he'd like to see you. Long story. He's a young lad. He's kind of shy. Now, although I'd picked up the news, I'd missed one important thing. And Karen had said that they'd been discussing it on Tubbity. For those of you not in Ireland, Tubbity is a DJ. Is that what you call them on Irish radio? A radio presenter. Very popular. Okay, so I'm going to read the first bit. It's to do with authentic content. And this is their ongoing pursuit to provide decent stuff into the news feeds of the people on Facebook. And we know for a while that they are, part of it's fake news and part of it is, you know, they don't want kind of advertising content appearing there unless you're paying for it, because then they can decide how much advertising people say. So they've already been combating words like, you know, buy and book. And they made this very clear that they were going to do it. But now let me read. One of our newsfeed values is authentic communication. We've heard from our community that authentic stories are the ones that resonate most. Those that people consider genuine and not misleading, sensational or spammy. When ranking newsfeed, we look at many signals personal to you, such as how close you are to the person or page posting, as well as more universal signals like the overall engagement, likes, comments, shares. With this update, we're adding new universal signals to determine whether a post might be authentic. To do this, we categorize pages to identify whether or not they were posting spam or trying to gain the feed by doing things like asking for likes, comments, or shares. So, you know you shouldn't be running a like and share contest already, right? I've already talked about how it will decrease the reach, but this is going to be the killer for you. If your strategy for building likes is the like and share competition, you're going to need to stop it now. We then use posts from these pages, the spammy pages, to train a model that continuously identifies whether posts from the page are likely to be authentic. For example, if page posts are often being hidden by people reading them, that's a signal they might not be authentic. If a post is likely to be authentic based on new signals we look at, it may show up higher in your feed. this is good news for all of you watching, because I know you do it right? I know that you are using the Facebook right. And if you're using Facebook right, your content may get more reach in future, as opposed to those very frustrating, everyone gets annoyed who does competitions right on Facebook, because when they see those like and share competitions, they know they're against the rules. Well, now, even more than before, organic reach will be dead for them. It's a really interesting update. It's a good one. It's going to make everyone's news feeds better, and it's going to reward businesses who are sharing good quality content. So that's what we have to stay with. I can't believe none of you voted for Snapchat. I did 2 Snap Ghosts today. This is my little kind of, I think he's been on a diet, and this is my big Snapchat ghost. So for me, there's two bits of news for Snapchat, but the big one is that you can now create more than one, what I like to call BooR codes, because that's what they were originally called, but snap codes. And you can actually create snap codes for specific pages on your website. So for bloggers, this is great. Even I was going to create one, but I'll tell you why I didn't in a second, for how you can sign up for reminders about this show. It's really easy to do. It's been rolled out to everyone. You go into your Snapchat settings where you would normally find your snap code to create to get people to follow you. You click on the snap codes, but instead of just having the one of you and trying to promote yourself on Snapchat, you can now create one for a link. And this is what you see when you go in. So I've gone in. You've got my snap code and create snap code. When you click create snap code, you type in your website address and it will create a snap code for you. Now I thought, brilliant, I'll do this today for my Facebook Live. It'll be great. So I went and created one for the Facebook Live page. And if you don't know what that is, it's spiderworking.com/Facebook Live. And I got this thing coming up 404, not found. And I'm like, now, I went and checked the page. It was still there. Why am I getting a 404? Why is it not found? Well, the thing is, it has to be HTTPS. Just trying to find it. This is the one I created. It will bring you nowhere. It will bring you to a 404. It will bring you to a 404 because I haven't quite implemented my HTTPS cert on my site. So for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, that's like a secure version of your site. Google, the last couple of years, has said you should have HTTPS certs on your site. The next version of WordPress, or a big update on WordPress, is going to require it. So it's something you need. Snapchat very cleverly are requiring that HTTPS in order for you to create one of their new codes. So this, you could scan it, but it'll bring you nowhere. I think this is really good. Obviously, they were thinking IPO when they released this update. They released it this week, just before they launched it. But it's going to be great that we can finally link out, and they've done it in a really smart way. They've done it in a way that fits Snapchat. They haven't just put in a link. Now, you might know that you can put in links in private conversations and they work, but the idea that you could integrate this into your story is really smart, isn't it? And also, I like, for years, in fact, I saw a conversation recently in a Facebook group about how, does anyone use QR codes anyway? You know, QR codes are great to act like barcodes, but we've kind of stopped using them for marketing. I think Snapchat are doing a great thing to reactivate them. Does anyone have an HTTPS site? Give me a Y, give me an N. Tell me whether you have one of those sites. I'd be really interested to know how many people this is going to affect. And if you do have an HTTPS site, you could go create a Snapchat code and you could share it in the comments. I'd be happy if you did that. It wouldn't be spammy at all. I'd love to try them out. Okay, so we just did one bit of Facebook news, did we? 2 bits of Facebook news. So I've still got Facebook news, I've still got Snapchat news, and I've got the Instagram news. The only time I use QR codes on the phone is for the cinema, so you don't have to queue for tickets. Yes, that's really good. But the nice thing is, I think the problem before was you needed a QR reader on your phone. I got rid of mine years ago because I'd had it for years and I scanned like 3 things ever. Now they're looking at ways that they deliver the code and they have the reader. I think that works a lot better. And yes, that totally works in the cinema. I was in the Savoy recently and they had that system. I think it was for Star Wars actually. And they had that system, which meant that instead of this gigantic queue that'd been banging on the doors and having to wait to collect your tickets, you could just go straight to the machine. I'm giving Snapchat, it's very rarely I give Snapchat a thumbs up, so yay, well done Snapchat. Oh, this is exciting, I'd forgotten about this one. Facebook, you will still be able to watch my Facebook Live on your television because Facebook are launching a television app. We don't know the details yet, but we reckon it's going to appear on Apple TVs and probably in the app stores if you've got an Android TV, any sort of smart TV at all, you're going to be able to get Facebook. That's so exciting. Will you watch me on the TV? I'm a bit scared of that. You should see the size of our TV. I'll have to do it kind of this distance because I'll be really big. It's not clear what it's going to show, so I'm assuming it's just going to be like the YouTube app that you can like scroll through stuff. You'll be able to watch my Facebook Live, you'll be able to find other stuff. It'll be great to see when it comes out. Okay, 2 more bits of, I'm just making sure I missed nothing when I got excited. The other bit of Snapchat news, again, a lovely thing, you know, Snapchat are kind of clever. They're kind of clever because they're not, you know, earlier last year they said they're not just Snapchat anymore. They're a camera company. Eee, another thumbs up for Snapchat. And they've started launching all sorts of AR, augmented reality products. And that's what they do when you think about it. Snapchat, one of the reasons I wanted to join Snapchat is somebody's mum told me that, oh, I was really enjoying it the other day. My kids were making themselves puke rainbows. So I went, oh, I have to try this. So I joined Snapchat. Well, I was on Snapchat, but I went and revisited Snapchat. I got a young person to tell me how to do that. And that's always been one of the hooks, I think. Those funny masks that you can put on, they turn up in people's profile photos all the time. But they're taking this augmented reality one step further. We've seen Snap glasses, spectacles. I showed you a thing where people could look through their spectacles at their spectacles case and it would create a whole augmented reality around them, kind of, I think it was like some sort of festival, which was kind of cool. And augmented reality is kind of an overlay on what you're seeing. So this new development is that they will be doing augmented reality so that when you look at specific surfaces or places, they will become billboards. So it doesn't have to be a billboard, although it could be a billboard, and it'll be interactive. When you look at it through your Snap glasses or when you look at it through your Snapchat app, you'll see it become something else. But it won't just be billboards, it could be anything. So basically they're turning the whole world into advertising space. I've often talked about how Facebook are short of advertising space. If the whole world is advertising space, you're never going to run out. So 1, this is kind of cool, right? This is cool. 2, this is kind of scary, right? It's like Minority Report where the ads come out at you. I remember reading Naomi Klein's No Logo many years ago, and she was talking about the amount of space that is now covered with ads. Just talking about like the backs of toilet doors. Every space that can possibly have an ad is getting ads on. I don't think even she, when she wrote that book, would have imagined the world we'll see if Snapchat do this. It's super scary, but at the same time kind of exciting. I don't know where to go with that one. Okay, I think one last bit of news, and this is the Instagram news. And this is kind of well, I'm not a fan of this idea. Oh, I almost opened Instagram to show you there. That wouldn't have helped at all. I want to show you the... Right, so Instagram are in beta trying albums. Albums of photographs, not like musical albums, if anyone calls them that anymore. They're trying it on Android. Can you tell how unimpressed I am? I'm even going to preempt this with a big thumbs down. Boo! No for albums. Now, people on Android that are in the test can already create them. This is what it looks like. There's a tweet there from a guy who got it. You can see you can choose albums, you can filter the photos, and they're going to look a bit like those carousel ads that you see on Instagram. Now, you can create them already. It's called like an album builder or something along those lines, but you can't share them yet. So let's hope the beta test goes really badly and nobody does it. Let's just hope. I'm not a fan of this. I do kind of like the carousel ads though, so maybe I'll change my mind. Look at that, I finished 5 minutes early. That's it for the social media news this week. But remember, if you know somebody that would be interested in watching this, please click the share button underneath. Share it with them in a message, share it with them in a group, share it on your Facebook page or on your profile. I'd love to get more viewers. We get a great viewership after the fact because so many of you do that for me. So I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget, if you want a reminder about next week's show, sign up at spiderworking.com/Facebook Live. Thanks for joining. Goodbye.